thoughts on War on I-4 Part 2 coming up?
It's interesting how the schedule works out. We've each only played 2 games since the first one, and so not a lot of changes in either team. You know, I thought it was a really good college basketball game. Both teams defended really well, clean, hard playing on both ends. And at the end, they made a couple big plays, you know, and give them credit for that. I think over the last 2 weeks, we've tightened up some things, and I think we're a better team. I think we're playing better. And now you need to go out there and kind of execute both your defensive and offensive game plan for 40 minutes. Obviously, I've talked about it. It's a game that means a lot to us, and we need to go out there and play that way. And I thought we did in game 1. I really did. But again, give them credit because they were able to make the plays down the stretch that they needed to make. So now it's our opportunity to play at home. I think we're going to have a great crowd, great excitement, and we need to go out there and play well in order to be successful.
It's also going to be your autism awareness game. That's a cause that's really close to this program. Just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, every year we pick one game, and it's national now. And with Tom Harrion on our staff, he was kind of one of the founding fathers of the Autism Awareness Week. You know, his son Robert is a big part of our program. You know, he is at every game. Our guys hang out with them. They text him. He texts them. You know, he's a big part of what we do on a daily basis. And then also as one of our managers with Brandon, he's here every single day. You know, and it's just an opportunity to increase awareness. You know, in terms of bringing it to light that these are special young men and young women, and obviously it affects young boys more than it does girls, but I think the coaches across the country have really embraced it, and I think because of that we're making great strides, not only in awareness, acceptance, but also additional research and additional things to make them part of our everyday lives, which they should be, and it's been great for us. It's been tremendous for our guys, no doubt about it.
Coach, you mentioned that you felt like your team's played better since that UCF game. What specifically have you seen on the court that's impressed you?
Well, you know, one thing like last night, you always look better when the ball goes through the basket. You know what I mean? It's the great equalizer. You can run great offense, execute really well, make good plays, but if you don't finish it either with a jump shot or a layup or a putback. But I think our guys we're moving better, we're sharing the ball. Yesterday I thought we did a really good job of that, even in the first half when we didn't shoot as well. We got on the offensive glass, which has been a big point of emphasis for us. And I just think our guys are getting a little more comfortable in understanding what we need to do to be successful on the offensive end, and to continue on the defensive end, even if the offense isn't clicking. And then all of a sudden when it does, you know, a close game, we're able to extend the lead, or if we're down a couple baskets, we're able to take the lead, and I think our guys are starting to embrace that.
Coach, Madut got his first start. Guys are in playing time in practice. What have you seen from him lately that led to that decision?
Well, you know, one of the things we talk about in building this program is your daily habits and your daily decisions in terms of what you need to get done to become a better player, what you need to get done to impact the team in a positive way. Madut is one of the best at that. As a young player, redshirted last year due to an injury, he's steadily been increasing his impact, positive impact in practice. And we just needed to shake things up. It wasn't, believe me, we didn't lose the game because of who we took out of the starting lineup or who we put in the starting lineup. We need to embrace the fact that we need everybody ready to go. You know, because Sean Williams got banged up a little bit in that game yesterday and couldn't play in the second half. But he made a huge impact in the first half on the offensive glass. You know, I thought Zach Dawson played his best game, in particular on the road, which is always a new challenge for young players. You know, unfamiliar setting, different things. But, you know, Madut gives us great energy. He's got a knack, offensive knack, to kind of find open spots. And he has practiced better, has practiced more efficiently, and he's in the gym all the time. And in this program, that means a lot.
In the first game, I wasn't there obviously, but it looked and sounded like a really uproarious crowd. How much did you sense that helped them, and how much can a similar outcome Saturday for you guys help?
No, yeah, you know, it was a good crowd, like I said, really good college atmosphere, and I'm hoping for the same thing here. I remember, you know, last year's game was you know, high electricity in terms of the crowd and so forth. You know, so you want that. You want to build, you know, you want to build that, especially in a game like this. And so whenever you get a good crowd and whenever there's excitement, it obviously helps the home team. But at the same time, you know, it's a little easier for the visitors to get fired up as well than going into a gym when there's, you know, you can shoot a cannon through it and not hit anybody. You know what I mean? You know, so it is important. It's part of what we're trying to build, and I expect a lot of excitement on Saturday afternoon.
Penny Hardaway kind of mentioned that after the Memphis game, saying that it was a tough place to play. I mean, you kind of take that as a compliment in what you're building? Yeah.
I'm not sure many coaches said that in the last few years. You know what I mean? And you know, I always say, you know, I always remember I was asked a question about a particular place. Why is it so hard to play there? Because they have great players. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that adds to it a little bit as well. But at the same time, having like I said, an electric crowd, a crowd that's really into it, can push you a little bit when you're making a run and can get you going a little bit if you're in a lull. And it's our job to kind of create the excitement, and it's the crowd's job to, you know, kind of amp it up to another level.
Coach, last week the basketball world lost two legends. First, Morgan Wooten, and then Kobe Bryant during your game against Houston. Do you mind sharing your thoughts on both? Yeah,
first with Coach Wooten, you know, I was very fortunate to recruit and coach a couple players from DeMatha. They did not play for Coach Wooten. They played for his assistant that took over, but he was around a lot and did a couple clinics that he was at as well. When you talk about a coach, and you can talk about the wins and losses and all that, but the people in the profession really look at their legacy and what they left behind and the people they helped build. And no one did it better than Coach when it comes to that. No one did it better. Not just great basketball players, but the people that went through that program, both as players and assistant coaches, have dramatically and positively impacted not only college basketball, but pro basketball. And you know, he lived his life the right way in every aspect. You know, we did not find out about the Kobe Bryant tragedy until after the game, and just numb. It's sad, not just for Kobe and his daughter, but for the other 7 people on board the helicopter in the tragic accident. We talked about it as a team, because if you think about it, it's the first time any of our players have gone through that with a figure that they grew up. You know, I told them, you either loved them or you hated them, and you hated them because you loved them. And this is the first time they've ever been through something like that. Because growing up, you almost felt like you knew them, you know, with the change in the coverage and different things like that. But we talked about, you know, I asked the guys, when you think of him, what do you think of? And they, you know, they talk about the passion, they talk about the work ethic, they talk about the intensity, they talk about the desire to never be satisfied with where they're at. And those are great traits to think about as a young player as well. Earlier in the year, we did a video segment with Kobe Bryant talking to the Alabama football players, and then also to Coach Saban. And we still had that on file, so we showed that again on Monday night while we were still in Houston. And it's as great of a player as he was, again, the things he taught so many people with the way he lived his life. As a father of 2 daughters, you know, the big thing out right now is the girl dad, and you know, that's a hard, bitter pill to swallow. because he loved those daughters of his. You could see it. You could feel, you could feel it. There's difference between seeing it and hearing it. You could feel that. And gosh, it does make you take a step back and think about, are you doing the same thing in your individual life? And the one thing I talk to the guys about too is emulate him as a player and all that stuff, but as a man as well. The impact he made in so many different areas was impressive. So it's sad, very sad.
Going back to that first game against UCF, what did you learn from some of those guys like Matt Milan, who didn't shoot well before that and made a couple of threes, and Ingram, who might have showed you a couple different looks? What did you learn from that game? Well,
one thing I said is they were a team that was kind of in flux, kind of trying to find themselves a little bit. But they're a talented group. Milan, you don't have the career that he's had without being a very talented and hard-nosed player. I have a great deal amount of respect for De Jesus, for Ingram, for Smith, and they're getting some really good contributions from other guys as well. They're a really good team. They're a very, very good team that, kind of got into their groove, played really well last night again, and so forth. So they're a much different team than maybe earlier in the year. I said when we played them, they had just beaten Tulane at Tulane, as good a 1-4, 1-5 team as there was in the country, So I think both our records don't maybe indicate the quality of the team, and it's going to be a great game. Anything else? All right, guys.